Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just wanted to take a little bit of time and share how I have come back to Christ and how I have found that the Bible is absolute truth. There are countless stories and accounts of people from our human history that have confirmed just that. And I'm going to share with you in a second some of my testimony. I'll try to keep it short. I'm very good at being long-winded, but all right. So there's two books that I've been exposed to that have given me a lot of comfort and knowing that the story of the Bible is not just a story and it is historical fact. One of them is by Josh D. McDowell, and it's called More Than a Carpenter. He was a college student in the 1970s who was exposed to a bunch of Christians who were his close friend group, and he tried to disprove the Bible. And through doing that, he found, excuse me, this is absolutely true, and there's all of this evidence to point towards that. And then there's another book by Lee Strobel, and it's called A Case for Christ. And he was an investigative journalist who, again, was exposed to people who believed in religion and really dug deep to try to not necessarily disprove it, but find more evidence to prove or disprove the story of the Bible. Now, in A Case for Christ, they talk about there being over 24,600 manuscripts basically confirming the story of the Bible. Not every exact detail, because before things were passed down in a written tradition, they were passed down in an oral tradition. And in societies, groups of people who primarily used oral tradition as their means to pass along information, they allowed a little bit of variation between certain details of the story, as long as the main tenets of the story or the main talking points or the main truths of the story were the same. And that is one of the biggest things that people will try to utilize to discredit these manuscripts and say, oh, well, they said this differently and this was different and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, going back to how oral traditions were shared, they did allow, again, some variation for that to happen. Now, there's 24,600 manuscripts that prove or have a congruent story of the Bible. The only other historical document in history that was believed to be true is Homer's Iliad. Now, that's like the Greek mythology story of the Bible, kind of. And there was only 650 manuscripts to confirm that story. So 24,600, 650, I mean, you go ahead and decide which one you think has a little bit more credibility. And to give a little bit more context, there was, not necessarily on the story of the Bible, but there was Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was an awesome person, supposedly. I don't know much about him. I haven't really looked into it. But most of the stories written about him were not written until 350 years after his death. And nobody questions whether those are true